Sorry, I didn't make it to the stage. Fair enough, that round of applause just for a little longer. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. So good morning, everyone. It is a genuine privilege to be here. First of all, can you all hear me okay? Yeah. Fantastic. And the clicker's working. Just got to go back to this picture. Usually this picture is black and white. Just realised how shiny I look in it. So, fantastic. So, I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour in terms of the work that I do in education, and I will reference the Gogglebox bits and pieces as well. I'll also feed back to Channel 4 that there was a bit of a whoop when we mentioned Gogglebox, so I'm glad people are still watching it. For those of you who haven't watched it, there's two apologies really. First of all, those that have never watched it, apologies. You go, who's this guy? And those of you who do watch it, there's another apology. I'm sorry, I'm not my dad. Because that's the guy you want to see. Okay, cool. So, yeah, name is Baasit Siddiqui, and looking at all your faces at the moment, you're all smiling, which is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully that will continue throughout the day. I have to be honest, I do a lot of these sessions kind of at the end of half term, and I don't see these faces. And if we're being honest, in terms of some of the data that we've seen today, and where we are in the academic year already, I think a lot of your faces are looking at them. So, again, as Justin said, I'm going to give you a mishmash, kind of my experiences in education, but also kind of the Gogglebox side as well. And whenever I'm sharing my story and the workshops that I do with young people, I focus on 4 key areas. So what you're really getting is a session that I do with young people called Positive Empowerment, but you're getting the grown-up version. There may be 1 or 2 swears in this one. There won't be a problem. Right, now, so when I talk to the students themselves, the place that I always start with is kind of my education experience. Also, the images aren't coming through. So there was one of me graduating and being really happy in terms of that, but don't worry about it. Once I'd done my degree in business and information systems, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do next. But during that time, I was working as a data analyst. Now, what that essentially meant was that I was looking at spreadsheets, databases, all those bits and pieces, and looking at ways to save the business I was working for money. And that meant some really difficult decisions had to be made. And I remember thinking at the time that this just doesn't feel like the right job for me. There was so many passionate people around the work that I was doing, but I just felt, am I doing the right thing that I want to be doing right now? During that time, though, 2 students came in for work experience. I got to train them, I got to show them the work that I do, I got to teach them. And it was there that I got the teaching bug. And it wasn't soon after that that I did my PGC, and I've worked in education ever since. For over 10 years, I worked as a full-time teacher, secondary school teacher. But for the last 5-6 years, I've worked in it in a very different way, courtesy of this random part of my life. So the whole Gogglebox craziness. And I will give you a bit of an insight in that. But what that's allowed me to do is are we hearing you all right now? Yeah. Fantastic, yeah. What it's allowed me to do is combine what I'm really passionate about, the education side, link it to the TV side of stuff, and create a bit of a small business. And you're going to hear some anecdotes and experiences that I've had on the back of that, and a personal thank you to all of you as well. Oh, that one's come wrong, so that's my fault then, yeah, whoops. Okay, cool. Now, first and foremost, the Gogglebox elephant in the room. I do like to mention that part of it as well, but this lady I mentioned in the talks that I do with the young people that I talk to. We talk about skills, we talk about qualifications. A lot of what we talk about as well, or what we should focus on, is the people that we meet along the way. So when I say to the students, it's about your network, the people that you collaborate with, the impressions you make. Anna was a friend of mine, we met at university, and then completely out of the blue years later, she got in touch with me and said that I'm working for a television studio. Hang on, I can give you the grown-up version. I don't say this to the kids, but I had a Facebook message from her 10 years ago saying that I'm working for a television studio. I remember you from years ago, and I'll be honest with you, you were a little bit weird. I met your brother once or twice and he was a bit odd. And if your dad's anything like you guys, I think it'll be amazing on this show. So the positive message I give the kids is continue to make those good impressions. Now, again, with the Gogglebox craziness, not going to labour it for too long, but we've done some really, really cool stuff in terms of it. This one, a big question we get on the Gogglebox side is, are we actors? And I can categorically say that we are not. So this is a picture of us having to say one line, Dad had one line. We are the nation that watches TV to watch other people watch TV. That's a picture of him having done about 102 takes. So losing his mind. This one, I remember it like it was yesterday. Absolute nightmare, kept demanding treats and scratches behind his ear. Dog was fantastic. That's the family photo. Sorry, these are a little bit out of order, but it doesn't matter. This one, in fact, save the best till last. This is my favourite one. So 5 odd years ago, we were asked as a family to do a Christmas light switch on. And I was thinking, oh, this is amazing. This is kind of on my bucket list. It'd be brilliant to do a Christmas light switch on. So got in touch with them and said yes. Did a bit of research, realised it belonged to a place called Nuttall. And I thought, I've never heard of Nuttall. It's not a city switch on. So it may be a little village. Turns out it's not a village, it's a street. It's a house on a street. We had to go to someone's house, flick a switch and say Merry Christmas. So, but in all honesty, these guys have raised so much for charity, they're amazing, and we keep going back to them as well. So it is lovely, just very surreal. But in terms of the whole Gogglebox experience, it's been brilliant, and I'll do a little catchphrase with you in a second. Hopefully the animation's working on that. But it's the thing that I'm most proud of when I think of all the things that's led to, it is the experiences through my business, combining the education side with the world of television and media and digital literacy. A lot of my background is in computer science and IT, and creating unique experiences for young people. The baby of the workshop that I do is a workshop called Let's Pitch It, where I work with students to use all of their essential life skills, their transferable skills, to pitch ideas for television shows. And then there's a big competition at the end of the academic year. But there's always a nice link to kind of digital literacy in terms of the work that I do. Okay, so that's my journey up until this point. Instead of giving you a cliche, I make you work for your cliches. So we've got a little catchphrase. Considering my experiences up until this point, I am making the most of something. Does anyone know what this saying is? I think it was this side. Can we give this side? I don't know who it was, but this side a round of applause, please. This side, I've got high hopes for you. You've got one more chance to redeem yourself. But yeah, making the most of every opportunity, make hay whilst the sun shines. For me, it's not just for myself and my family, it's for the young people that I work with as well, supporting them, boosting their confidence, sense of direction, and the skills to get there as well. And it took someone else to tell me that I was doing a lot to support social mobility. I didn't know it at the time. I should explain. A lot of the students I was working with were free school meal students, pupil premium students, pre-need students as well. And someone at BET a few years ago said, wow, you're doing loads to support social mobility. I thought, am I? Now, I could give you loads of statistics in terms of the challenges that we face, but I think this articulates the challenge of our young people really, really well. And I have to say that every single person who works in education, and we've already seen the work that all of you do, kind of the unsung heroes, the school business leaders. You are part of that community and you add value to all of our young people. So for me, that is absolutely fantastic. But, and I'll repeat this because this is something that a lot of after my sessions, people ask me, what was the name of that sketch? So I'll say it again. It's On a Plate by Toby Morris. And it's a tale of two young people, Paula and Richard. Paula's safe, he's warm, his house is full of food. Paula can't really say the same, she keeps getting poorly. This one always hits me. Richard's parents will do anything for their son, so will Paula's, that's why they're working every single hour. The two have different school experiences. However, what we're really getting at is that social mobility doesn't start and end in the classroom, and people's attitudes change. There is a slide missing there, which is basically the parents are offering support. But the main thing is that social mobility doesn't start and stop in the classroom. It carries on through a young person's life because of the challenges they face, and it's their attitudes towards their own learning experiences. We know that social mobility is linked to, deprivation is linked to health. You could be 1 or 2 postcodes down the road and your life expectancy is a little bit lower. That has a knock-on impact with the young person as well. And it prevents or adds challenges to things throughout life. Now this one, I'm glad this slide is on here because this one's a vital one. This is kind of something that is my mantra, supporting the Paulas of this world. Because essentially all those different challenges, we start to create ceilings for ourselves. It may not be something that someone says, it might be a tone of voice, it might be body language. In this case, it's very apparent. Anyway, long story short, 2 children academically who were at a very similar point end up in 2 very different situations through no fault of their own. And that is really why I like to do the work that I do, to sort of support these young people with their confidence, their skills, and their sense of direction. And it is the biggest privilege, if I'm honest with you. This outsider comes in, a bit of notoriety, some people know me. That makes me sound like a mafia boss, doesn't it? You know, people know me. But you go in, and it's the kids just love the fact that the strangers come in, seeing potential in the work that they do, and gives them that opportunity just to celebrate it. And with every certificate I give out, it's referencing all of those essential life skills. So the work I do, and the work that we all do, is really to support the ballers of this work. Now I'm going to give you a quick insight in terms of one of my winners from the Let's Pitch It competition. These were the first winners, actually. 3 girls from Skegness Academy, and they came up with a really sneaky idea. It was basically son seeing suspicious parents, or secret millionaire, but where the parents are involved. So a parent goes in disguise and kind of follows their child around for the day, and then they do an unmasking at the end of the week. They won because of the chemistry and kind of the presentation they did. But they got to visit the creator of Gogglebox. And Tanya, whilst they were in London, asked them, how did they come up with such a sneaky idea? And one of the girls said that, well, I was excluded in year 8, and my nan didn't know that this was coming until she got that letter. I wanted to create something that gave an insight of what's happening behind the scenes. So we said, you turn this negative time in your life into such a massive positive, and that's so fantastic to see. Long story short, we got to really celebrate this young lady who did that. She then mentored with me for the next couple of years. She's now left school because it was a few years later, but it was just nice to know that we're making this positive impact and this positive change. The reason why I mentioned that is that's just one story of the work that I do. But education, being part of this education community, is an absolute privilege, and I know that all of you, or a large majority of you, are sitting there knowing that you're making a day-to-day difference. And I'm going to say it again, the unsung heroes, doing the work that you're doing in the background. So before we move forward, and this is really to give my throat a bit of a break, if I'm honest as well, I'm going to bring it back to yourselves. You, by all means, have a chat with the person next to you, or if you just want to reflect on it yourself. Normally, if this is a longer session, if I'm honest with you, I use this as an opportunity for anyone who wants a selfie to take a selfie. We won't have that time today, I apologise, but I will be around later if anyone does want one. Now, before I get you having a chat about this one for me is vital, because it is something similar that I do with our young people. I ask them the question, list a time, or list 3 times you've made a good impression. We're very modest as people, as a nation. How often do we get the chance to smell the roses, to actually pat ourselves on the back and say out loud that we're proud of something that we've done? That's why I have included this in the adult session as well. So if you had to reflect this term so far, what is it that you've done? How have you supported the school? What impact have you made that you're most proud of? So please do take the next 2 minutes or so. I may be able to do one self. No, I'm not going to do anything. Well, have a chat with yourselves, have a think about it. Off you go.
When people hear the word Tourette's, they think of swearing and jerking movements. In fact, it's a lot like an iceberg above the water. You see the motor and vocal cortex. Underneath, there are many other issues that make up the syndrome, sometimes dangerous, often painful. I found practicing magic cosmetics, and the same can be said for a lot of the disabled function and neurodiverse community, with some form of arts and or talent, which brings me to my idea, a show called Kids on the Flip Side, a show where differently abled children can showcase their talents and win a chance for mentoring and to perform at a prestigious event. Differently abled children are better at magic. They're not always what they seem. Thank you.